Hi, hello, it's Nikki, and welcome to my messy bookshelf. Today I wanted to share my somewhat large stack of books that I have recently acquired over the last 2 months. So this is somewhat of a birthday book haul, but it's also some books that I have acquired over since February, so the last month and a half or so. I am not trying to brag here. Please don't think that I am trying to brag, but I did want to share these books that I got. This is a combination of Barnes & Noble, Amazon, thrift books, and I even found one in a little free library that I started at my job. So not a true little free library, but I did set up a tiny little bookshelf and started putting books there, and people have started putting books there, and I was very excited about that. So the first one that I picked up, which is actually the one that I think I found at my work's little free library, was Martin Chuzzlewit by Charles Dickens. And I was super excited to find this one because it is one that I want to read. And I think this might be the next Dickens that I try. This book was talked about a lot in the book that I just read, The Air Affair. One of the characters in this book is one of the characters that goes missing in that book. So they discussed this book a lot and it made me curious. So when I saw it, I was like, yes. So I did grab this one. The next one that I picked up was David Copperfield by Charles Dickens, because I am trying to read more Dickens, especially after I read the Pickwick Papers. It made me not so nervous about picking up Dickens. So, David Copperfield. The next one that I picked up was Impossible Creatures by Katherine Rundell, and this is a book about a bunch of mythological creatures. So, it is one that was recommended to me by someone in regards to middle grade March, and I love a good middle grade, and I love fantastic creatures, so I was excited about this one. And the bonus with middle grade is that I can pass it on to my youngest, so thought about reading that one together, but we have a couple other projects that we're working on. The next one that I picked up was A Brief History of the World in 47 Borders, and this is a nonfiction, and it has interesting information about the history of the world and how these borders on our maps came to be. So I love maps, I love exploration, I love history, so this is right up my alley, and it looked very interesting. So I don't really know much besides that, but I know that I read the first couple pages and it looked good enough. The writing looked good enough. The next one is one that has always intimidated me, and that is A Gentleman in Moscow by Amor Towles, and it is one that I have seen several of my booktube friends mention, and I'm trying to branch out in my reading. So, you know, I had plenty of store credit and it was buy one get one 50% off, so I always have store credit at Barnes & Noble. The next one was A Journey to the Center of the Earth by Jules Verne, and an adventure story in the children's Barnes & Noble edition, which I am collecting for my daughter. So for me and for my daughter, because I do love these editions. But yes, I have been looking forward to reading this for the longest time, and I was very surprised that I didn't have a copy of this on my shelf. So we'll see when we get to it. The next one or two are, they had these editions of Animal Farm in 1984, and you know, seemed appropriate. So I saw these. I have a very small mass market paperback edition of this one, and I have always wanted a nicer copy, so I did pick that up because I love that book, and it is one I've read a couple times. As far this one, Animal Farm, I remember reading it in school. I don't remember too much about what it's about, besides that it is a bunch of animals and they form a government, and we see the corruption and you know, dictatorship that occurs in this book because they're forming a government. So seemed fitting for, you know, everything that's going on in the world these days. The next one is one that I actually saw and I immediately thought of my friend Ellen at Ellen Made Book Club, because she read this book, and this is I Who Have Never Known Men. It was the only copy, and this is one of the used ones that I picked up. So all I know is it seems like it is a post-apocalyptic book, or a dystopian book, excuse me, a dystopian book, and it is a bunch of women who live underground in a cage, and I don't really know much more than that. So she talked at length about this one in one of her videos, and it sounded fascinating, and I saw it and immediately remembered her talking about it. The next one is one I am also looking forward to, and that is A Room with a View by E.M. Forster, and I have heard it recently described as a very entertaining story. So I know that it involves a young woman, a woman of good family, and she goes to visit her cousin, and, you know, it is high society and sort of an entertaining look at her life with her cousin as she falls in love with someone and coming back home to the monotony of their lives. I don't know if that's correct, but that's how it's kind of been described in some other videos that I've seen. But I have been told that it is supposed to be somewhat funny, entertaining, and, you know, satirical. I don't know, though. The next one I got is because I recently read Moby Dick. It was fascinating. And this is also by Herman Melville. This is Billy Budd, Bartleby, and Other Stories. I have been wanting to read Billy Budd since I learned more about Herman Melville, and this is supposed to be some stories of life at sea and a sailor and some adventures, as far as I know. So we know that I like that. And then we are getting to the end here. The next one is Lark Rise to Candleford by Flora Thompson. Another used one that I picked up. This one, and it's so pretty too for being a used book. This one is one that I picked up because there was a show about called Lark Rise to Candleford a few years ago. I can't remember if it was on Amazon or what, but I remember loving it. And that was actually the series, the TV show series that inspired me to read Cranford. So, hadn't realized that this was a book, but here we are. So I'm excited to read this. I know that this is supposed to be sort of an autobiographical account of Flora Thompson and her life in the village that she grew up in. So looking forward to that. I love stories centered around female characters, especially in the 1800s. I don't know what it is. I don't know. But seems like a very comforting, calm, and delightful read. And then the last two that I have here, the first one is Dark Waters by Katherine Arden. I loved the first book in the series, and I just read it last week, and I have started the second book in the series. Already know I'm going to love it. So, yeah. This is the third book in the Small Spaces series. I don't really know what this one is about, and I don't want to look too much into it in case there's spoilers, but yes, I picked this one up. And then the last one that I have here is Three Men in a Boat by Jerome K. Jerome. And this one keeps popping into my, you know, videos, recommended videos, and recommended books because I loved the Jeeves book that I read, and I loved the Pickwick Papers. And this is supposed to be a very, very funny account of three gentlemen who are in a boat with a dog. So I don't know too much. I just know that it's supposed to be very hilarious. So I am looking forward to this one as well. And that's pretty much it for my birthday book haul, though I did want to share, I did receive a bookmark from each of my children. So I received this one from my daughter that she painted, and my son actually got me a metal one that says Mommy, and how adorable is that? So I am super excited. And yes, it was a wonderful 2 months of collecting some new books to add to my shelves. And yes, I will be unhauling some other books very soon. But I thank you so much. if you made it to the end of this video. I would love to hear if you have read any of these books, and yeah, or if you're interested. But thank you so much if you made it to the end, and I hope to see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.